Okay guys, welcome back to the channel as always. Now, in today's video, we're going to be focusing on the most recent solo block that was found by Parasite Pool, which is this one in the bottom left-hand corner here, this 958527. We've also had two more blocks found since then, so 959115 by Solo CK and 960804 also by Solo CK, which is around the 3rd of August. Now, if we go back to this Parasite Pool block here, so what we're going to look at is just the key stats to begin with, and then we'll go through the rest of these tabs here, which document and outline, obviously, the block that they have found. Now, we can see here, obviously, the rolling average, the days between solo blocks in this column here is starting to come down, like we've covered in previous videos, from this high around the back end of last year, 2025, when it was around 53 days between each solar block being found. Now, we can clearly see if we highlight this comment, it's coming down, down into early 26, into April, into May, into June, into July, and now in August, it's gone sub 30. So what we're looking at now is 28 days rolling average for these solar blocks to be found, which is great news for the movement as a whole. Now, we can see part of the reason that that is happening is this difficulty change. The difficulty change has been coming down steadily again since that high there, 152 trillion around the back end of last year. You can see these little changes here. We're now at 126. And that's also reflected in both the difficulty percent change. You can see these minus values here, which means the difficulty is coming down. And again, that is in response to this ever reducing or declining hash rate, which again really is a result of price sensitive miners, being driven off the network. Obviously, it's no longer profitable to mine. However, as Solos miners, we do not care about what the Bitcoin price is. We simply care about hitting that next solo block. So it's great news for us because our share of that theoretical hash rate pie is getting bigger all the time as those price-sensitive miners, are flushed out. Now, what we're really going to focus on as well for this episode, guys, if we look at the hash rate that's responsible for finding these blocks. Now, this was 1,470 terahash, which is effectively 1.5 petahash. Now, what you will notice as well, if you're looking through these numbers as I'm speaking, you'll notice that if we sum up the last 9 solar blocks, which goes back to the 29th of April, this Brains solo block here, what we're going to see is 6 out of the most recent 9 solar blocks have been multi-petahash hash rate rental level power that has found these blocks. So we've got 1 here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 of the last 9 solo style blocks being found on the Bitcoin network have been powered by this petahash level, typical of rented hash rate style setups. Now, that says to me, see, solo mining is evolving. Okay, we can see here this statistical outlier, this dark blue block, the 957382 that's found on the 10th of July by a Bitax. Again, a statistical outlier, and we're no longer seeing blocks being found by these open source miners here. Like we can see the Nerd QX++, the Nerd Octax, I mean, the Avalon Q and the Nano, okay, so they're closed source, but regardless, they're still relatively low hash rate compared to these multi-petahash rental setups. Now, interestingly, the block we're covering in today's video, so 958527, this one here. Now, the hash rate that was found by was from Parasite Pool's own refinery. We're going to cover that in a bit more detail later on in the video. I'm going to try and explain what that is and how you can use that to your own benefit and potentially copy what this person has done. But it looks like, as we're going to see in a little bit, this was kind of your average Joe person with a few open source miners on their address. However, they added this hash rate rental for a short period of time, struck gold, hit the lottery, and got that 1 BTC finder's fee from Parasite. So, I mean, yep, it definitely seems to be an evolution in solo mining. It remains to be seen how many solo blocks, as we go into the latter part of 2026, will also be found by this similar multi-petahash level hash rate, or are we going to see a return to these open source miners kind of finding these blocks? But so far, nonetheless, in 2026, how many have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, 16 blocks, right? Which is more than almost the previous 2 years combined, okay? So, I mean, it's really good news for solo miners and where we are as a whole with the movement, right? So if we just scroll across as well, we can see probability of this person finding that block with that hash rate there. Their years to find a block would have been 11.1 years, and the odds per day would have been 1 in 4,000, which is, if you're looking at all these values here, actually pretty decent. Okay, so let's just move on. So we can see here in mempool space, the 958527, that block here found by Parasite was 3.13 BTC. Obviously, the person that mined that block or found it got the 1 BTC finder's fee, and we can see that here in the transaction. You've got the 1 BTC. If I'm hovering over that, if you just look at the little speech bubble, you've got 1 BTC going to that address, and then you've got 2.13 BTC at the very bottom of the screen going to all the other addresses on the Parasite pool. Okay, and then if we look at this screen here, you can clearly see the Coinbase newly generated coins. Again, that 1 BTC finder's fee going to the address of the miner, and that would be Parasite Pool's address to distribute the rest of those coins across the miners that make up that pool. Now, if we look at the address that found this block, guys, so it says, one block 958527, one with the best difficulty of 401 trillion. So again, like many of the recent blocks, massively over the required difficulty of 126. And if we look down to the actual device that found that, so we've got it here, 401 trillion, and you'll notice it does say refinery. So that, as we've gone through earlier in the video, is a multi-petahash rental. And you can see the rest of their miners on here are probably bit axes like this one here. Nerd Q4, so that's likely to be a Nerd QX++, 4.29 terahash, 5 terahash, and so on, right? And they've got a few more down here. Okay, so yeah, this isn't like someone operating at an industrial scale. I would say this is a quote unquote average Joe person who has just struck gold and won the lottery with that hash rate rental from the Parasite Pool Refinery, which again we're going to cover in a bit more detail, okay, later on in this video. And if we have a look at the main Parasite page, it's saying on average another 84 days to find a block. So where we are at the moment from the date of recording, so 13th today, that's going to probably put us in, I would say, November sometime. I doubt they'll have to wait that long, given that they had all these other blocks recently. Just depends what level of hash rate gets pointed at Parasite in the meantime. I would anticipate that's going to come down by quite some margin. Okay, so let's have a look at Parasite Pool's refinery next, and we'll cover that. Okay, guys, so we're just going to focus now on what Parasite Hashrate Refinery really is. So as it says here on screen, the refinery is Parasite's on-platform tool for renting hash rate directly into the pool. It launched in beta around May 26. Key points from how it works: you place an order for a certain amount of hash rate, measured in petahash per day of work, conceptually similar to buying energy by the kilowatt hour. Pricing is dynamic and quoted in sats per petahash a day. It fluctuates with Bitcoin price, overall demand, and available capacity. You specify a worker name, in the form of yourname.refinery or similar, so the rented power appears under your account address on the pool. It delivers work starting after confirmation, typically fast with expiration rules if confirmation takes too long, e.g. within a certain small number of blocks. Payment is on-chain in sats/BTC. Once active, the rented hash rate contributes shares towards the proportional distribution and gives you a chance at the 1 BTC finder's bonus if one of your rented workers solves the block. In at least one documented case, a renter used significant refinery hash rate, tens of petahash, to find a block. That's what we've covered earlier in this video. This is distinct from external marketplaces like NiceHash, Brains, HashPower, or other that people sometimes rent elsewhere and point to Parasite. The refinery is native, simpler for beginners, no complicated setup, no mining experience needed, and keeps the hash rate inside the Parasite ecosystem. That point is key, guys, boosting the pool's overall chance of finding blocks. So why does it exist, and what are the implications? So as it says here, small pools like Parasite face a classic so-called bootstrap problem. Low hash rate means expected long wait times between blocks, months or more at lower levels, which they did have originally, which can discourage participants, which is fair enough. Renting via the refinery injects temporary hash rate, raises the pool's collective probability of finding blocks, and lets non-hardware owners join the lottery style upside. I think that point is absolutely massive, guys. You don't have to own massive amounts of hash rate to now boost your chances. So this is certainly a growth market, right? It seems to be expanding rapidly, and it's having real world effects in people being able to not own petahash level hash rate, but rent it and find a block. So I think that's fantastic. So moving on, it's contributed to visible hash rate spike and recent block flies like we just talked about. Now, nuances and practical considerations. So economics, I mean, renting is generally not a steady, profitable mining play, which is a fair point. You wouldn't do this to earn or make money on. Expected returns are variance driven, so lottery-like for the 1 BTC bonus and small proportional share. In some analyses, the cost to rent enough hash rate to have a meaningful shot at a full block can approach or exceed the block reward value, making it more of a speculative or experimental activity than pure arbitrage. But we know that with solo mining, right? We're not doing it expecting to find a block. You're doing it in the hope that you may find a block and walk away with a life-changing amount of Bitcoin in the process. Electricity equivalent costs and opportunity cost of capital matter. Risks. So beta stage features can change. You pay upfront for the hash rate that may or may not produce a block find during the rental period, but we know that anyway. You just have to accept that risk and be happy with the money that you could lose from doing this. Full hash rate and thus odds fluctuates. We know that anyway. Always verify current pricing, capacity and terms on the official site. Now, alternatives, you're probably aware of some of these names. So external renters, Nice Hash, Kiss My Hash, Brains, etc. can also be pointed at Parasite. Some users combine home hardware, e.g. Bitax, with rented power. We've seen that in the address we've covered previously. Community angle, it fits the pleb/ordinal adjacent culture around the pool. It's accessible, meme-friendly, and focused on giving ordinary participants a real shot rather than pure industrial efficiency. So in short, guys, let's sum up. The Parasite Pool Hashrate Refinery is a built-in rental marketplace that democratizes access to the pool's hybrid mining model. I think that's a great summary point. It turns hashrate into something you can buy a la carte to join the hunt for blocks and the 1 BTC finder bonus without owning a massive amount of miners and ASICs. Check out parasite.space for the live dashboard, current pricing, and connection details as the system is still evolving. Right, so yeah, I mean, as we covered previously, 6 out of the most recent Bitcoin solar blocks have been found using this hash rate rental level power from different variety of sources, right? But it clearly demonstrates this is a growth sector within solar mining. And as you can clearly see, we've got these blocks highlighted here for you guys. So there was that Brains solar block there on the 29th of April. We've got 3 of the recent Parasite blocks that were probably hash rate rental driven blocks, and 2 recent ones here with Solo CK. So again, we're going to keep an eye on this as the year progresses. Are we going to see less or more? My kind of guess is we are going to see more of these. I'll do a video on how to rent the actual hash rate. If you guys are interested in that, please let me know below in the comments. I'll do that in the next few days. Any questions or comments, guys, please hit me up. I'm always on X, you know that. For now, thanks for watching. You know I appreciate it. Stay ahead, stay decentralized. Now, also, guys, just remember, when a new solar block is found, we're going to announce it here first on the X feed. And if you do join ourselves on Patreon, with the link in the top right-hand corner of the screen now, you'll get access to the private Discord server group, which you can see on the left here. And for that, we have got a channel for solo mining pools. So when the block is found, we'll announce it on there as well. You can read all about it there first.